Representative AOC just went there with Donald Trump and criticized him in an incredibly strong way. She is certainly not holding back here whatsoever. So just take a look at this clip. We'll talk about it after, but it is fantastic.
Donald Trump is a criminal who was found guilty of 34 felony counts of fraud, liable for sexual abuse. Of course he's lying and abusing and manipulating the stock market too. When he talks about rapists and criminals, he should look in the mirror.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, that line got a huge reaction from the crowd because this is a strong criticism, but it's also true. Donald Trump is the master projector. When he says, oh, this person's a criminal, this person did this person did that, he's often projecting his own problems onto other people. Donald Trump is the guy that was, as she correctly pointed out, found guilty of 34 felony counts, found liable for assaulting E. Jean Carroll, found liable for extensive business fraud. So when Trump gets up on a stage and blames this group of people or that group of people because they're this or they're that or they're criminals according to Donald Trump, that's all projection from him. And of course he's doing these things. Of course he's manipulating the stock market. A liar is going to lie. We know that about Donald Trump. Now, the significance of this clip that I just showed you is not only the amazing attack that AOC just launched against Donald Trump, but it's the location. This took place in Idaho. Nampa, Idaho, which is, of course, a very Republican state, a very Republican district, but just look at the crowd that came out to support AOC and Bernie Sanders as part of their Fight Oligarchy tour. This crowd is huge. Tens of thousands of people in Red, Idaho. Have a look. I mean, is that not mind-blowing? This is Idaho, Republican state, has been a Republican state for as long as I can remember, certainly my entire life. This is a state that voted for Donald Trump overwhelmingly in 2024. And now AOC and Bernie Sanders have a rally there that has over 20,000 people. I mean, it is remarkable. And as I mentioned, this is Nampa, Idaho, right? Look at the map of Idaho in 2024. Donald Trump won overwhelmingly, 66.9% of the vote. Kamala Harris got 30.4% of the vote. And Nampa, Idaho is kind of around Boise, so a little bit to the left of the state. And as you can see, there's no blue there. This is not a Democratic district. This is not where all liberals in Idaho reside. This is a group of people across the political spectrum, Democrat, Republican, Independent, who showed up to hear from AOC and Bernie Sanders yesterday. They are fed up with Donald Trump, Elon Musk destroying our democracy, destroying our federal government, disappearing people off of streets and then sending them to El Salvador. People are fed up. And it's not just Democrats. I want to stress it's people across ideological lines. But look, I also want to show you some more clips from this rally that are really important and really good criticisms of Donald Trump that Democrats should be making more known, more public, talking about these very often. So just take a look what Bernie Sanders had to say about Donald Trump attacking the First Amendment and media outlets. It's well said.
And right now, he's going after the media. I don't know if any of you saw it. He is now wanting to take away CBS's license because they did a story that criticized him. Oh, my word! CBS criticized him. Oh, let's drive them out of business. How terrible is that? He has sued ABC. He has sued Meta. He has sued the Des Moines Register. This guy cannot take criticism. He can dish it out all right, but he can't take it. And I say to Mr. Trump, if you can't take criticism, get out of the political process. This is a democracy.
Yeah, again, I agree with every single word that Bernie Sanders just said right there. You know, it's so funny because before the election, Republicans were saying that free speech is front and center for them, that they care so much about the First Amendment and protecting the rights of all Americans to be able to say what they want to say. But then they vote for Donald Trump, who has called for MSNBC to be taken off of the air, has called for CNN to be taken off of the air. Now he wants CBS's license to be taken away from them. He's been targeting 60 Minutes. He sued the Des Moines Register. I mean, Donald Trump is the most anti-free speech president in the 21st century, and it's not even close. And Republicans want to go around and say, no, he's pro-free speech. He wants you to be able to say what you want to say. No, Donald Trump's idea of free speech is speech that supports him. If it's speech that's against Donald Trump or against his ideas, no, that doesn't fall under free speech, according to Donald Trump. And this is something that dictators employ all around the world and have historically. They go after people who are dissenters. That's why we're seeing Donald Trump signing executive orders to target his former advisors that spoke out against him. That's why we see Donald Trump going after Democrats, saying that certain people should be thrown in jail and launching investigations into them. That's why we see Donald Trump going after CBS and other news outlets. I mean, it is insane, and it's part of this dictatorial run that Donald Trump is going on, this constitutional crisis that he's plunging in. We saw this even furthered yesterday in the Oval Office when he met with the president of El Salvador, again, the self-described dictator of El Salvador, Bukele, and they talked about Abrego Garcia, a Maryland man who was improperly deported to an El Salvador prison. The Trump administration acknowledges that he was improperly deported. The Supreme Court has ordered for this man to be returned, and yet Donald Trump is saying he doesn't have the power to do it, that he won't do it, and Bukele is saying that he doesn't have the power to return him to the United States. Now, of course, that's not true. People from El Salvador have been returned to the United States when it's been improper. They're just, for some reason, holding this individual who they just disappeared off the street because they want to. It's plunging America into constitutional chaos. So Donald Trump is doing things like this. He's trying to silence free speech. He's disappearing people off of streets. I mean, we are in such an insane position in American history, one that I don't think anybody, no matter your age, has lived through something like this. Just certainly not. But look, I want to show you one last clip that speaks to the Democratic Party's new movements versus the Republican Party. Donald Trump consistently speaks to his base. The Democrats are trying to expand ours. And that's what AOC said at her rally in Idaho yesterday with Donald Trump. Just take a look at this line. I really love it.
It's funny, I was hearing that earlier today on the television. There was someone saying, why is AOC and where AOC Bernie going to Idaho? And I'll give you one simple answer. It's because you matter. It's funny, I was
Hell yeah. No, look, I love that. I mean, this is something that Democrats have to do better at, and I think we are, which is reaching out to everybody. You know, all people are voters. We can reach everybody. Our ideas are better. Our philosophy is better. And we can convince average everyday Americans of that truth. Donald Trump very much stays in his MAGA bubble, right? He doesn't try to reach out to Democrats. He doesn't try to reach out to people that disagrees with him. We just talked about how he's trying to silence people that disagree with him. But the Democrats are making that effort, and I think that'll pay off tremendously in the 2026 midterms, the 2028 presidential election, and very far into the future. So look, I love the firmness and the willingness to attack Donald Trump here from AOC and Bernie Sanders. They're not holding back. They're not pulling any punches just because he's president of the United States. That's the kind of activism I want to see from our elected officials. And look, I disagree with Bernie Sanders and AOC on some of their policy positions, but what we do agree on is that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. So when they're talking to people who may not have heard from a Democrat before, like these folks in Idaho, I'm there. I'm supporting them. And I love the mission. So look, I will leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Really supports me, really supports the channel. Also drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about this rally and this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.